The legendary Numatic Henry vacuum cleaner, or commercially known as the NVR200, really is an absolute stalwart of the industry. So Stu and I are just going to run through a few ways which will help you avoid breaking your beloved Henry or NRV200. Numatic have created a beautifully simple piece of engineering with Henry Hoover. However, a bit of neglect can really stop Henry in his tracks. So we're just going to look through a few simple ways which you can ensure that your Henry keeps on working and gives you maximum suction and performance. A common mistake with the Henry Hoover, which has got this rewind feature in the housing, is sometimes it's not fully extended when it's being used, and this just causes the cable which is wound in the plastic casing to heat up and then ultimately fail. So for best practice, make sure you fully extend the cable. As you're unwinding the cable to its full length, just check it with your fingers, just lightly squeeze it as it comes out, looking for any kinks or cuts within the cable itself.
When you're taking the top off the Hoover, it's the two clips on the side. Just lift it off. We'll take the filter out, and it's all dusty and horrible. A lot of people would take this outside and bash it against the wall or shake it. You'll end up with a dusty patch on the side of the building and you'll end up covered in it. A far better way of doing it, and a cleaner way for yourself, is to get yourself a sack, get a good grip on it, put it in, hold the sack tightly around your hand, even though that's been shaken off. The best thing to do with the filter when it gets to that condition, after you've taken that, is to probably give it a thorough wash out and leave it to hang up until it's dry. So after you've given it a wash out and let it dry, you'll get it back to that sort of condition, which will be absolutely fine to put back in your Hoover. So to take the bag out of it, you just hold the red tags, just pull it and just remove it. The next thing we're going to need to do now is sort this out. That's either because the bag's split or it's just been poorly maintained, but if you put that back together and fire it up, it's just going to cause you more problems, so we need to get that out. Because this is in such a poor condition inside, I'm literally just going to give it a wipe round, just with a damp cloth, just to tidy it up. On the spout inside, there's a lip. You want to make sure you push the bag over the lip so that it's fitted correctly, right the way up tight to the inside of the Hoover. Spread the bag out nicely around the inside of the Hoover. Just before I put the filter back on, you'll notice that it's not seated properly. So if you put it back on like that, you're going to have a problem again. Just need to make sure that it's on the lip all the way around, nice and tight like that. So when you go around the outside, it's all sitting on. If that's not seated on properly, you'll potentially lose vacuum from underneath the side of the Hoover, and it'll be really hard to get the lid back on as well. So just make sure it's a seal, it's a gasket that creates the vacuum on the top of the Hoover. Make sure that both of these are pulled out. Seat it on top of the Hoover, nice and square, with the cable coming towards the back of the Hoover. Push down, that's on, push down, that's on. Next thing you need to do is just pick the Hoover up. You'll see that's okay. If it's not on properly, when you pick the Hoover up, you'll do that. But don't lift it all the way up, because potentially you can snap the other side off if it's not on properly. So that's just a way of testing. So just make sure that's on, that's on, that's now on correctly. When you turn the vacuum cleaner back on, just pop your hands over there for a second or two and you'll feel the vacuum created on your hand. You'll know that it's all seated properly, you'll know everything's fine. Next thing to do, screw the hose back on. Don't over tighten it, that's fine. Take the other end of the hose, turn it on. We now know that there's no blockage in this pipe. We now know that's all seated properly. If when you put your Hoover back together, it has no suction at the other end, that's because there'll be a blockage somewhere in your pipes, and you know that you need to sort those out before you can carry on using it. There's an arrow on the top of the Hoover. that's the way to turn it to rewind it. If you rewind it the other way, the cable will fold back on itself and jam. So always follow the arrow. Make sure there's no knots or no kinks in the cable when you wind it in. All the way back up, slowly when I get to the plug, done.
So there we have it. There's a few tips which should help maintain your Henry and keep him going for a bit longer. Just check back on this channel for a few more tips about how to maintain the famous Numatic NVR200, aka Henry. If you do have any questions about the Numatic range, particularly the Hoovers, please feel free to just drop them in the comments below and we'll be sure to reply. If you do have any tips yourself of how to get the best out of the vacuum, then just give us a shout as well in the comments below.